Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. Today it was a super Sunday and we are here to talk about two games today. But first up, let's talk about that game, a thriller between Gujarat Titans and Chennai Super Kings. What a game did we have in our hands, and all thanks to Killer Miller who came back to his old self to save Gujarat Titans. Every time Gujarat Titans play, you are assured of a thriller, and this time around as well, it was another thriller. If we talk about the game in summary, it was Chennai Super Kings who batted first, scored a brilliant score of 169, and they'll be very pleased that their main man, former Orange Cap holder Ruturaj Gaikwad, came back in form, and also Rayudu. He loves playing against the Sunrisers Hyderabad, so he loves playing against this Rashid Khan, especially not Sunrisers Hyderabad, because he loves Rashid Khan. Whenever Rashid Khan plays, he always steps up his game, and of course. It was that one ball sparing Killer Miller alongside Rashid Khan. They finished the game off pretty well. Rashid Khan had a brilliant over against Chris Jordan. You got to feel bad for him. I have Nikhil and Sandeep to talk about it. Nikhil, getting to you first up.
Yeah,
That was some game of cricket, wasn't it? Because you have to talk about Killer Miller first up. You reckon that finally he's back to his old self because last 7 seasons he has just had two scores of 50 plus, and today when the pressure was on him, there was no Hardik Pandya, the captaincy figure in the team as well. He just
yeah,
took up the responsibility, isn't it?
yeah. I think that has been the hallmark of Gujarat Titans as a side, that they have found heroes in every game. They have found heroes to win games from difficult situations, which is great for a new franchise. I think today
Right.
we all knew and felt that maybe they are a better shot, and Vijay Shankar in the form is in. When they were 58, 48 for 4, you really thought that the writing was on the wall for them. And that's when I think Miller decided that it is best to play the way he knows best. Uh, I don't think he gave enough chances to Chennai to come back in the game. And
Right.
all Chennai had to do then was probably keep the other end open. And I think it was pity that there were just two bowlers who were looking to take wickets, and that is you had Bravo and Thikshina.
Right.
Everybody else, you just felt like they're just trying to contain. They're just waiting for that mistake from Miller, and it never came. And so you cannot get away with the bowling that you have. You have to continue to take wickets. We've seen that happen with many teams now, that you cannot let a game drift. I think Chennai were guilty of that. Yes, it was always going to be too much, but you never allowed Miller you never allowed Miller to make any more chances in terms of, you never saw any misses from him until Bravo came in. So that is something that has to be discussed, and uh, you can say that yes, the Jordan over caused them, but I
Right.
think it was a selection that caused them more than the Jordan over, because there is Dwayne Pretorius who is fit. He's bowling well. He was doing well before he was replaced. So unfortunate as it is, when you bowl at the dead, you sometimes have off days. But if you have a guy who's in better form, why would you not play him? So CSK
Right.
have learned it the hard way, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about CSK's batting, of course. You reckon that after the start they got Sandibani, they absolutely lost it somewhere in between because this could have easily been a 190 score because Ruturaj Gaikwad was timing the ball beautifully. Even Rayudu, when he was batting out there, it just looked like a good pitch. But then the finish, last match's hero, Shivam Dubey, he just didn't get going today. Or even Jadeja, for example, he hasn't really come to the fore in this IPL, isn't it?
Yeah, Jadeja, even though he hit those two sixes of the last over, I think you expect more of Jadeja, given that he has done it for CSK in the past. Speaking about the shift in momentum in the game, I think in the middle overs when once Raidu got out,
Yeah.
and then I think bringing in Aljari Joseph was a master streak. They could have gone for Loki Ferguson and it could have been different, but Joseph bowled brilliantly in the middle over, like the overs 12 to 16, I think. Uh, During that time, I think they found it very hard to like play him and score quickly off him, making it very difficult to accelerate. Like given they already had the stage to go out there and accelerate, like you expect CSK to finish with 190 or 200 if they are 119, 113 for two at the end of 13 overs. But that did not happen today, thanks to Joseph. And I think Rashid Khan bowled that beautiful penultimate over, giving
Right.
away only 6 runs. So Rashid Khan's overall contribution with both bat and ball turned out to be the difference in the game, according to me. Also,
Yeah.
highlighting Nikhil's point, like Nikhil said that the selection for CSK went really wrong with Jordan, I feel the same. I think even if Mukesh Chaudhary or Ravindra Jadeja or Moeen Ali would have bowled that 18th over, they would have gone for the same. Like
Right.
you can't. This was a pitch where I think Pretorius would have done very well, as we saw that Bravo was mixing up his like the variations in pace was working for him, and
Right.
Pretorius was in great form when he was dropped. I don't understand why they are going on like keeping on playing Jordan when he is clearly not in the best of forms.
Absolutely. Nikhil, coming to you, of course, let's talk about that bowling again. If you talk about the bowling figures, they are missing out on a spinner, right? Because Sandeepani spoke about Pretorius, but someone to back up Mahesh Dikshana as well. Mahesh Dikshana has been doing a solitary job of being the one spinner who's been able to control and also pick wickets. You reckon they need one more attacking spinner going ahead? It could also be someone like a Solanki, Prashant Solanki coming in straight up for an overseas bowler. Maybe it could give them a balance, isn't it?
I honestly don't think that they are lacking a spinner. They are true to their ideology of wanting batting all rounders, which is fine. But then you have to even be able to choose between them better. If there is a guy who's in form, there is just absolutely no reason to drop him for somebody who's not in the best of form. It's okay to accept that and make the better change. You will We will probably see that change in the next game because the pitch that they, as Sandeep rightly said, they lacked. It is those crucial calls in tough situations. Like somebody like a Shivam Dubey came in. No, he's not somebody who comes in and hits big. His strike rate in first 10 balls is not that great. Now that is not something that's unknown to you. You needed a Jadeja up there, or somebody send a Bravo up there, send a Jordan up there. Why hold on to people so much that no, let's go order wise only. I mean, you have
Definitely.
to be able to find the better resources for that moment of time. And I think that is what Chennai are lacking this very season. That in every game, it's those small moments that they're not winning tactically only. So forget about the execution bit. It's just with the tactics that you are losing out on crucial runs.
Right.
Gaikwad was so honest in his post-match conversation that he said that we were 10-15 short. But
Right.
even after that, if you've got an opposite side 48 for 4, Jadeja was trying to bowl darts into the body of Miller and Rahul Tewatia. You have to get people out. This is not the time to contain, to put the pressure up and then expect a wicket. You have to create a wicket. We've seen that time is gone to play catch up. So maybe, and that when you know your bowling is inexperienced, you cannot really just bank that somebody will say you. Bravo.
Right.
Had Bravo not bowled that spell, this game could have been over early. Who knows? With the way the rest were bowling. So
Truly.
something for Chennai to think about. They nearly had a very good game, but again, they didn't win crucial moment and it cost them big.
Somebody coming to you now because let's talk about one other thing about Chennai as well. Mukesh Chaudhary, who had a brilliant spell, 3 overs for 18. You reckon that he could have finished probably a spell of 4 overs, and at that point, where Miller and Tewati was batting. Because if you look towards the end, that's what caused them the game. One extra over of Jordan is what caused them the game. This could have easily been controlled if Mukesh Chaudhary would have finished a spell 4 overs for 22. That 4 runs could have been saved. Now you had a 25 runs over towards the end because of the very fact that they didn't have another bowler to look up to, and they are not confident of bowling Mukesh Chaudhary in the death anyways after that last match's blitz where Dinesh Karthik came out taking him on, and even that game against Lucknow where he went for plenty as well. You reckon they could have possibly used him well because he was in a good spell, he was in good rhythm, he was bowling well as well?
I don't see any reason why they couldn't have finished his quota in the first 8 overs itself. Like he could have gone for like Dhoni's captaincy has been that he was the like one of the first players to back a player to finish his quota of 4 overs on the
Exactly.
go if they are in the correct form or rhythm. But I don't know why he was taken out of the attack after the power play. Probably they wanted to try out the slow bowlers, and I think the ball was gripping and spinning because
Yeah.
the last ball that Moeen Ali bowled, the ball just hit the
Mm.
turf and it spun a long way and bounced. So I think they thought that spin will be the right way to go about it.
Right.
Also, having said about that, I completely agree with Nikhil. It has got to do with the mentality. Jadeja was looking to dart in the ball, whereas if you talk about the first game where Rahul Chahar picked up Rahul Tripathi and Abhishek Sharma. with flighters. Like he was flighting the ball, giving the that's the intent. Like he was also defending a small total, but he knew that his overs were there to not to contain the runs but to take wickets. I think there was the difference was the approach, Jadeja's approach to the game, and they could have bowled Mukesh Chaudhary in the middle overs. Like they could have brought him back for 1 over, but I don't think like how effective he would have been once his spell was over. Like if they would have bowled him on the trot, like 4 overs on the trot, it would have been better. Once you have taken him off the attack, I don't know how effective he would have been even coming in the middle overs, because we saw Thikshana even going for 10, 11 runs in the last over that he bowled. By
Right.
that time, the batters had already settled and they had just one mentality that they had to go for it with the asking rate over 12.
True.
So
That's a good point out there. One other thing is, initially we spoke about Jadeja's captaincy. Nikhil, coming to you, at the end of the second match, we said it's too early to judge him as a captain. Now it's almost halfway down. They've played close to 6 matches in the tournament now. Where would you rate Jadeja as a captain? Because, him being an all-rounder, him fielding in hot spots like deep mid-wicket, him fielding in long on, it's never easy to control things in the middle because there you need someone like a Dhoni to, go talk to the bowler as well. Where do you rate him as a captain, especially in making those tactical calls? And where do you put him right now after 6 matches?
To be honest, I'll not judge him even after a season because it's his first-hand experience. It's not something that he's been used to doing, and it's a very hard thing to do when you have very little control over a lot of things. Now he didn't have control over the team that was selected in terms of the squad that was made for him to play with. So there are a lot of factors that could really impact his call on the bowlers, on the plans and the tactics. Because now we've seen that enough that most of the time these tactics are not even made on the ground. They're already done much before the game begins, where you have a bowling meeting and people take care of themselves. So one thing that I don't often agree with the cliche that you want your captain to talk to you. I mean, the captain doesn't come out and tell you that block a Yorker, or the captain doesn't come out and tell to you that don't play outside or you'll get an edge. So
Right.
the bowlers have to be able to think on their own that this is what our plan was. Yes, you can be under pressure, but the same thing happens with a batter. So if we have the
Right.
same kind of a level field for a batter that he has to think on the field, the bowler has to be good enough as well to be able to think on his feet that okay, my plan is not working, let's go to plan B, let's go to plan C. And there is no stopping anyone from going and talking to the bowler. So I don't think that should be an issue. And as I said, I don't think we can rate Jadeja as a captain until
Right.
he's probably given the entire range that okay, you select the squad, you then play the 11, and then let's see how we go from there. So it will take time for him. Jadeja will also learn. Again, I don't think there was much wrong in terms of the bowling changes as much as say the couple of them, but it was more to do with the people you have and how you use them. So that is something that should ideally be also coming from something like a Fleming or even MS for the other end. If he's there,
Right.
he knows that okay, maybe Mukesh needs to bowl another over. I'm sure if he tells that to Jadeja, Jadeja will not disagree, or he'll
Right.
have his own views that okay, maybe let's use him then. So the way CSK function, I think this was probably an ideal game to close out. That they batted first on a sticky wicket, got a decent score. Had the opposition really 2 for 2 and 48 for 4, you don't close these games out, you are going to have a hard time.
Right, right. And let's go to the other end. Gujarat Titans, they're now on 10 points, leading the table. Now, you couldn't have asked for a better game as well because, of course, they had missed Hardik Pandya, the captain, the all rounder, the batter. They missed him completely today, but then they managed to come up with a win. They'll be very pleased with that for sure. Another criticism of Gujarat Titans has been the number 3 spot. And, of course, we have to talk about the player, Vijay Shankar. This was an opportunity for him to really play out, go out there. He had enough balls there. He had enough balls to possibly settle down or even play an anchor. But yet again, he has disappointed everybody. He's disappointed the team management for sure because they've entrusted a lot on this lad, and he's getting a very good batting position as well. Sandipani, you reckon that they should stick with this lad, or it's time to go for Sai Sudarshan, who has done considerably well in the 2 matches he has played?
I think I don't understand the like why they dropped Sai Sudarshan after having picked him in the third game. Like it has to be now. Now, as I think of it, I think Vijay Shankar was probably injured. If they're backing Vijay Shankar in this way, like he has played 4 of the 6 games and he has not scored anything. Like yeah, I don't think he has even scored a 20 in one of those games. Also, to add to that, he has not been bowling. Leave the IPL team aside, he has not even bowled for his domestic side in the last couple of seasons. So I don't think they are. I don't understand the decision of picking Sai Sudarshan and dropping him after giving him just those two opportunities when Sai was actually batting well. I think in the first game that 35 of 30 was a very good knock under the circumstance. He was with Gill. He kept the scoreboard ticking. He played a perfect game. The second game he did not quite get going, and you have those off days, but to drop somebody having one off day and sticking to Vijay Shankar even after 4 games, I don't understand that choice. You can even try out if Hardik Pandya is back. You can even try out, say, Matthew Wade will come in for Aljari Joseph. I feel so. You can even try Riddhiman Saha instead of Vijay Shankar. I think anybody is better than Vijay Shankar at the moment with the form that he is in.
Right. A good point out there because Ridhiman Saha, I'm sure that he had a very bad game to start off with. You can expect that when a player is put on right there, and you've seen that with some of the best players in the world as well. Now going forward, Nikhil, we've spoken about this previously as well. Rahmanullah Gurbaz, who has a strike rate of close to 155 in T20s, he's sitting on the bench and he's of course been an injury replacement, but then you still can consider him for sure, and he can be that X factor player to give the starts because Shubman Gill also will get the time to settle himself and get going because now all of a sudden Shubman is also under pressure to get going. After a couple of matches, he has done really well. All of a sudden, he knows on the opposite end, the player has not been scoring well. Matthew Wade did not score in the best. Even Mridhiman Saha was taking his time. Today, he got off a not Shubman Gill, but still, considering that opening pair, Rahmanullah Gurbaz and Shubman Gill can be a good one, where Rahmanullah can also keep wickets.
Yeah, and I think today, as you said, Hardik Pandya went out, meant they needed an extra bowling option, and they played with only five. They didn't even try Rahul Tewatia today. Which is surprising because Tewatia has had some decent success against the Chennai batters. Again, they won the game, so now nobody cares about it. But again, that's a handy option to have. Once Hardik comes back, and then we need to see whether Vijay goes out or Saha goes out. Then they can definitely play Gurbaz.
Yeah.
And they should probably open with him because again that is his best spot. And Saha has played at 3. He's even scored a century batting at that position. So it's not that you can't use him in the power play.
Right.
So they'll have to find a way out. You can feel for Vijay Shankar, he's just not getting that one inning where he gets a few bad balls and then he can get going. That's been the problem with him, that he's got out in the first risky shot that is attempted, he's gotten out. So, and in the start of the tournament, he got a few very good balls, but after that, he's in the last game he slashed at a very wide one and got out, and today also he slashed at a he went to cut and got out. So when it's your day, you get an underedge that goes behind the keeper or past the keeper, but when it's not your time, they go to hand. So
Right.
I think because they are winning, they'll still give him a few or 2 games. I think because it'll
Right.
be fair on them as well. Had they been losing, I don't think you would have seen Vijay Shankar play. So maybe
Right.
because they're winning, they can afford to give him a few games and see whether he can do it. If not, then you do not go back to him. So I think that is
Right.
how they can possibly look at it. Because as you said, he hasn't bowled, but conditions are such that he's somebody who can come in, and if there is some help on the wicket, he could do something. Again, I'm not saying he will. I'm saying he could do something. So at least you have an option in that regard. So uh, hopefully a few games and then he can get going. Else they do have enough options in the bank.
Of course, it has to also do with Gary Curson being the coach. He's big on backing the players and backing players to a tilt where they come good. And
Yeah.
hopefully, we hope that he comes good as well. He's a good talent for sure. From that game, let's go to the game which happened earlier today between the Sunrisers Hyderabad and the Punjab Kings, because it was a game which was quite weird in many ways. You saw Umran Malik yet again, because we rave about Umran Malik almost every live session whenever Sunrisers play, because that lad has got something special about him. Today we got to see something even more. Every game he's getting better and better. It's good news for Indian cricket. It's good news for IPL, and of course he wins that fastest delivery of the match. That's for sure. That's something which he'll never leave, of course,
Yeah.
behind. Let's talk about that match. It was Punjab Kings who batted first. They just managed to score 151, and all thanks to the last 4 wickets in that over. It was 3 wicket maiden, plus also in the last ball it was a run out. So they just got all out at the wrong time, or even if it was. And it was a proper Sunrisers Hyderabad chase where they love chasing scores of 150, 160, take their own time, and they'll be like, this is our own territory, whatever you do. And all of a sudden, you're looking at Sunrise, they have 4 wins in a row. Last week, this time around, we were talking about what is the further progress for Sunrise Hyderabad, because back then they had just won one game against CSK. Right now, 4 games on a trot with 35 wickets picked up by their pacers. Dale Steyn is very happy. Fans are very happy. You're considering them to be one of those old Sunrisers Hyderabad, isn't it, Nikhil?
Just tells you how much using your resources is important in this format and sticking to them. Uh, you always know that Sunrisers will play one way, and that's what they've continued to do. They've backed their bowling to come good, and I think it's the form of Puran and Makram that is really helping them close game outs. Because in the past, when you had people like Pandey and a few others playing Gargs and all, you could see them losing those games from there. But that is not happening this time around. They have Makram, international experience. They have Puran, who's pretty much, I'm sure, has had a lot of time with Dan Lara as the batting consultant, that he's able to make better decisions under pressure, and they're seeing them home, which is a great sign for a franchise who's. I honestly don't think anybody gave them enough chance with the kind of squad they assembled, but they found ways to win, which is good. I will also say Kane Williamson has been incredibly lucky with the tosses, but again, that is not in your hands. You will win some, you'll lose some, because this was a template game, something that we've known SRH for over the period of years. That they'll bowl first, they'll not allow you to break free out the power play, and then you have the choke in the middle, and then at the end you have. Now today they tried something completely different, that they bowled out Natarajan below before the 19th over. That
Yeah.
cost me a lot of fantasy points, because Umran Malik then came in and then randomly bowled out death over, and then he came up with 3 wickets. He bowled a 3 wicket maiden over, which is very rare. So these are some calls that you can take when you know that the opposition has a weaker tail. And because Liam
Yeah.
Livingstone got out before that over, they were able to sneak that very good over in. And I think Livingstone didn't mind facing Umran, because we saw him take him on. So
Mm.
overall, a great game for SRH. But yeah, there are issues, but they're finding good positive contributions from a lot of their players.
Definitely. Let's go to the other side, Kings 11, Punjab Kings. I don't know why I always go for the Kings 11 Punjab. I don't even know why they changed their name, to be honest. Of course, let's talk about the Punjab Kings. They missed their captain, Mayank Agarwal, for sure today, isn't that, Sandeep Bani? Because he just came good against Mumbai Indians and he was looking in good form. And all of a sudden, when you miss someone like him, perhaps Simran Singh is done well domestically good, but then, of course, he cannot be a direct switch for Mayank Agarwal's ability and the impact he brings to the game. What better could have Punjab done today in terms of their game approach, in terms of game plans, in terms of their bowling, Sandeep?
Yeah, I did not understand why Johnny Bairstow was not pushed up the order when Mayank was absent, but I think they have assigned the role of number 3 to Bairstow, and Bairstow also has not been in the greatest of nicks. He did not get going in the last 2 or 3 games. He hasn't got going in this IPL so far. But I think they could have gone with Bairstow as an opener and pushed Prabh Simran at number 3, because Bairstow has proved that he has been brilliant, especially for SRH. He has opened the batting for SRH and has given them great results, along with David Warner. So there was just a bit off with that tactic. I did not understand that tactic. Also, bowling out Natarajan even cost me a lot of points. I think it costs everybody a lot of points, because you expect uh, Umran Malik to bowl out in the middle overs itself. But very well, I don't remember the last time I saw a maiden 20th over in a 20 over game. uh, Brilliant, good bowling, and I think it was lucky at the end, because you just had to bowl to tailenders, and if you're bowling at 150, 152 kilometers per hour to tailenders, they will find it very difficult to play. Other than that, the tactics used by SRH has been very good. I think, I spoke about that their batting looked stable. Their batting always looked stable, but it was my only concern was their bowling department.
Right.
But as you rightly pointed out, that the Pacers have picked up 35 wickets. Earlier in the show, you were talking about whether Chennai Super Kings are missing a spinner or not. even though they have Thikshana, Jadeja, and Moin Ali. To speak about Sunrisers Hyderabad, they just had the 4 overs of Suchit. So this is how they play. They have backed their pacers and they are showing great results. And I think it has been really good going for them.
Right.
Also, definitely the luck has been on their side. If there are lots of ifs and buts, and if Kane Williamson would have lost a toss, and then you will definitely know what Sunrisers are truly made up of. Like you will get to know whether they have the depth
Yeah,
to finish off games and win it for them. So I think this was right up their alley. They were not challenged enough by
yeah.
Punjab Kings, even though Liam Livingston got that knock going, but there was not no real support from the other end. Once Dhawan got out, I think Dhawan has played the anchors knock for Punjab Kings in the last 4 5 games. He has held fort at one end. Once he got dismissed, I knew that they were going to find it difficult. Thanks to Liam Livingston, they did manage a respectable total, but I definitely think that was not enough.
Absolutely. When we talk about Sunrisers Hyderabad, the moment they start defending scores, all of a sudden all the teams are going to take a note of that. Their two extremely successful seasons of 2016 and 2018, they were defending scores, especially the scores of 150, 140. I remember one of the times they even defended 118 against Mumbai Indians. And that's the kind of bowling attack they've got. And the moment they start doing that, people take a note of it. People should be aware of this team. Nikhil, coming to you about that question itself, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, it's a huge plus for Sunrise Hyderabad and also for India because everybody wants to know how this guy is bowling and how is he in the rhythm, how is his pace. What do you make of him through so far in the tournament? Because he's been mixing up pretty well. He's landing the Yorkers well. He's able to swing the ball pretty well up top as well. What do you make of him so far?
So far so good, to be very very honest. And if you see from the India perspective, I would not mind a Bhuvneshwar Kumar bowling 3 overs up top, to be very honest, because for India now you have Harshal Patel and just the Boomer who can bowl towards the end. So
Right.
I think that can be covered if Bhuvi can maintain his fitness and form. Uh, Pace is not an issue as long as he can control the swing, but we need to also be mindful that the World Cup will be in Australia. So conditions will be far more different than they are here. So if you ask me, maybe I'll probably take a T Natarajan first, and then Umran Malik, and then a Bhuvi. Again, purely because of the conditions that we can find in Australia, somebody like a Umran Malik could really benefit a lot if he can maintain his line and length over a period of
Speaks
time. So
volumes of how much you rely on the Indian bowling contingent of Sunrisers Hyderabad as well. All of a sudden, you're looking at this bowling trio to be India's main trio as well.
no,
Yes,
they're not
carry on.
try. I'm saying one of the three can
Yeah,
be
all right.
picked as a complement to Bumrah and Harshal Patel at the end. So
Yeah,
because Australia we should be probably playing on bigger grounds. So you will want to have people who can hit that I can make use of those long boundaries. So I think T Natarajan anyways should be walking into the side because if you have a fit T Natarajan, Bumrah, Harshal Patel inner side, then it's a very good bowling side for the last 12 overs for sure. Now, all you need is one very good power play bowler who can take wickets in every game for you. He doesn't need to take two, three. Just take two or one, and then you can set it up very well for the other ones. So, and if Hardik is also bowling, then it's a different conversation altogether. But coming back to SRH, very happy for them that you can see Bhuvi's progress. I don't think there is anybody who doesn't want Bhuvi to do well
yeah,
because he's been such a personality that you always enjoy watching him do well. So it's good to see him taking wickets. But again, as Sandipani said, it's when you lose the toss, when you are batting first, and if you don't have a score, what are you going to do then? That is what is going to actually challenge you because so far you've been lucky that you're getting surfaces and you're also getting conditions in your favor.
right,
But now, if you score 140, and then you have to see that okay, now can we defend this? Then it's a different challenge, and then we need to see if people are not happy to take the risk versus him, how does he go about it? So that is
right.
a different battle completely.
Right. Sanjay, coming to you on the question of Shah Rukh Khan, right? They bought this guy for a tremendous amount of money. And today, of course, he got a bad knock on his head. But after that, he just didn't look raffled at all. He just, went for that six of Natraj and he just said, okay, that's my reply towards you. Now, he's had a couple of failures, evident failures. Bujia wanted him to bat at number 5 because at number 6 is never easy for any batsman in the world. Just give him the extra bit of time. Of course, they are backing him, that's for sure. So, possibly give him the number 4, number 5, and give him that extra bit of time, just get settled, and then possibly bring him down the order once he's confident enough.
I think they have a job, like they have the finisher's role assigned to him, because they are clearly giving Jitesh Sharma, like trusting Jitesh Sharma to go in at number 5 and play freely, like all the batsmen from Punjab Kings, they just come at you hard.
Right.
You really have to dismiss them to restrict them. So basically,
Mhm.
I don't think they can try Shah Rukh Khan at number 5, but I don't think he'll be pushed up any further up the order, given that they have Bairstow at number 3 and Liam Livingstone in the current form that he is in at number 4. Also, it will be interesting to see whether they go forward with Bairstow after the three like not so good games, when they have
Right.
inform Rajapaksha waiting at the camp.
Yeah.
So they have a few decisions to make. Also, Odin Smith, what is he, a batting all rounder, bowling all rounder? Uh, that one game where he picked up 4 wickets, I
Fantasy all
to
rounder.
say you honest, yeah,
He's a
fantasy all
fantasy all.
rounder. But I am not not truly uh, sold out by the idea of having him in your 11. They can still look for Rishi Dhawan or Sandeep Sharma instead of him.
Right.
But let's see.
So it is, if you see, it is so evident that two Englishmen today were not in form. They've played for their sides over two guys who are in form and are sitting on the bench, and that has cost both those teams the game. So just how
Exactly.
ironically poetic this day can be summed up.
Yeah, it is poetic justice, and it is, it's weird. All of a sudden, English cricket will
Yeah.
be like, come back, we have to focus on our test team, lads. So, of course,
No,
talking about that, yeah,
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 just continuing on the point, I just want to say Odin Smith bowled just the 1 over. Like,
right,
he will come up with the bat on some days, he will not perform with the bat on some days. That is granted. Like, it's okay, you can have 2 or 3 bad games with the bat. But if you are the bowling all rounder, you are the fifth bowling option in your team, and the team is reluctant to try you out until the very last over, I think your position in the team is not like fixed. I'm sorry, but if in the 19th over they would not have finished the game, and only 9-10 runs were needed of the last over, then again they would have to go with Odin Smith for the last over, and then again we would be sitting here and criticizing him for finishing the game in the first three. Like, the game would have been finished in the first 3-4 balls.
right.
So yeah, they have to reconsider his place in the team.
Absolutely. We've been talking about Sunrise Hyderabad's bowling, but then one bowler who's been going under the radar very consistently is Arshdeep Singh, because he's got all the ability to ball up front, ball in the death, and he's been also very economical. Maybe might not be up there with the wickets, but then he has done all that dirty work out there to defend scores, make sure that it's not, he balls some of those tight overs. What do you make of him, Nikhil? Because he certainly seems like a prospect, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of us were also impressed by him last year. And it's great to see him continue that work, because we've seen people struggle to make continue what they've done in the previous years in the IPL. And that is a very good positive for Punjab to have, that they have a bowler who is an all condition, not all condition, but an all overs bowler, if you want to call him that. Uh, I do feel that they need a bit more from the other bowlers. But again, as Sandipani said, their options are so limited with the amount of bowling. Like, even today, I think Vaibhav bowled 3 overs on the trot. I
Right.
didn't get that point of giving Vaibhav the third over. You have to go to Arshdeep Ali. He is your main bowler. I can understand it is something Rohit has also said, Rohit Sharma, that is that you want to hold Bumrah back, but this is not the time. This is not the season where you see people going only at the end. People have started to go early. You are thinking too far ahead when the game is right here. So
Yeah.
that is how I think people need to really approach, at least while defending totals. That again, something that Chennai also did today. That you wanted to get overs out. You do not
Right.
need to think like that. You have to think wickets only, because of the bowling strength. If you have a very good bowling attack, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you don't have that bowling depth and you're not sure, you're already in the defensive in your mind, and then it will show in the way you bowl as well, that you want to get a few overs out. And as Sandipani said, Odian Smith and Livingston is doing the job with the bat. So
Right.
I don't want to trouble him with the ball as much. He can give you an over two, but you have to take Odion Smith out or Johnny Bairstow out and then get in a Sandeep Sharma and Banu Parajapaksa so that you can solidify at least one end. Because if
Right.
you get a Sandeep Sharma, you could get Sandeep to bowl up top, use Weber better maybe, and then you can hold Rabada for the end overs because as of now the game is not going to the 19-20 over for Punjab in most
Right.
games, and every day he'll not end up taking 4 wickets. So then you will not have that
Right.
lottery every other day. So I think they need to have more options, and that is something that I'm sure Punjab will look at. I think Shahrukh is also a very interesting question to answer for them because
Yeah.
they've paid a lot for him, they've invested a lot in him, but today it's again it was that moment where he refused a double, and
Right.
then Livingston never got the strike. You feel like okay, you have to talk better or find a way to sort that out because you could see Livingston standing at the other end not getting any balls, and then when
Hmm.
he got a few, he got out. So those are some very minute, but they are game-changing moments if you see in the overall scheme of things.
Absolutely. That's a very good point because Shah Rukh Khan's concern will be a huge, huge call for even Punjab. Where to continue with him, where to bring in someone like Rashid Dhawan. Same thing for Odean Smith as well because Odean Smith they have to possibly clarify his role as to is he just a bowling all rounder, is he a batting all rounder, are we going to use him as a pinch hitter? But so far it seems like Mayank Agarwal is big on backing these players and giving them the
Yeah.
complete confidence, and they've done decently well. They're on 6 points as well, and there's a huge traffic jam on 6 points if you look at it. As today, even Gujarat has won. So let's talk about the fantasy points earners, the booming five of the day. Of course, let's
Yes.
go and know who had the best of days. Let's go to the first match which happened earlier today. As you can see, it was a complete performance from Sunrise Hyderabad, and I'm not sure how many of you had Umran Malik as your captain, but of course, many of them had Leon Livingston as your vice captain for sure, with considering his form. And of course, you had someone like a Bhuvneshwar Kumar in the list. You have someone like a Nicholas Puran and also an Aiden Markram who has been also performing consistently these days. So coming to you, gentlemen, how many of you did you have? How many of them did you have?
I had four of them, so it was a lemonade day for me. Uh, of course, I had Umar Malik in my team, in the starting team. As I said, I play with multiple teams, so thankfully I had him in two of my three teams, so I did a fair job there. But yeah, it was a tricky game. I think, again, this was a classic game where you cannot beat yourself up if you did not do well, because
Right,
Umar Malik is not going to bowl the death overs in most of the games. Or if he's going to, we will know that soon. So that is something that
right,
you can't, it's not in your control. But otherwise, I think all rest of those picks, they had to be there, given the recent form.
of course. Sandeep, coming to you, how many of them did you have in your team?
I also had 4 out of 5, but I did not have Umran Malik in my team.
Yeah.
But it was a good day for me because the other two were in my vice captain and captain. Like I had Liam Livingston
Right.
and uh, I didn't mark him as my captain, vice captain,
Not bad,
respectively.
not
So
bad.
Yes.
You'll just consider a wavy lemonade day or a lemonade with just two
yeah,
salt
sort
cubes.
of.
But nonetheless, let's go to the second game.
Yeah.
And you have, of course, you might be having David Miller, who had a terrific game. Ruturaj Gaikwad could have been a left field choice for sure because he was out of form. Then you had Dwayne Bravo, Ravindra Jadeja, and Ambati Raidu. Looks like how many of them did you all have? Because most of the players, they're all the expected ones to be on the list, isn't it?
I had a lemonade day. I didn't have all five, but I had four. I didn't have David Miller, but I still
Oh,
won most of my contest because again, right contest playing is very, very, very important. So while Miller was going hammer and tongs, I was like, okay, guy, you can hit. I am not going to lose any money today because people had him, but they didn't have a Raidu or they didn't have a Gaikwad or they didn't have a Bravo or they didn't have Fiction. I had all of them,
right.
so I was covered for the day. So yeah, I'll take a good lemonade.
Sandeep, coming to you.
Yeah, I too had the same 4 out of the 5. I did not have David Miller in my 11, but I had a very good day because I have been backing Rituraj Gaikwad for the last 2 to 3 games. He finally returned my money.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, it was a good day.
Of course, it's his home ground and he had to come good at some stage for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
And when we
And
talk
also,
about
I think having Ambati Raidu was a must because, as you said, that
Yes.
he performs really well against Rashid Khan. I also had him in my game against SRH, and he played some 26, 27 knocks, which was
yeah,
pretty decent. So yeah,
right. Definitely. Just about winning even without having a player as your captain. Of course, Nikhil is taking a course on that. How to have your perfect 11. You might not have the captain, but you can have players who will contribute in big way and give you the returns, or even make you fetch even more points and earn big monies. So, Nikhil, handing over to you on the course you're taking mad about sports on how to pick, play, and win fantasy sports all across.
So again, a classic day today where I said I didn't have David Miller, but yet I got 3x of my return
Right.
purely because I had invested in the right amount in the right count of contest so that I get something back. And of course, I had to take risk with Gaikwad and I took it. I had to take. Ambati Reddy was not a risk because of his record against Rashid and the other bowlers. So Lockie Ferguson has always found it hard against Chennai. So you felt that okay, he'll come good. So these are the things that I've tried to cover in the course with Mad About Sports, that there are so many ways to find a way to get something back that a lot of us don't pay enough attention to those details, that you don't have to always pick the best possible team. You just have to pick an average team but still being able to put it in the right context so that you
Right.
get something back. And when you have your bingo day, you will definitely make 10 to 15x of your return if you had that right team. So I think what a lot of people get lost is they want big money very early. I think
Right.
it's better to get something every day over a period of time, because that ensures that you are not in a loss. If you look for big money every day, you are likely to either win or lose, but the margin is going to be big. But if you find a way to control your investment, find the right context, you may not win big, but you'll not lose big as well. You'll be in the game for a longer period of time. So it's the
Right.
MS Dhoni school of thought that you can go and try and finish the chase in 15 overs. But if you get out and the game is done in 12 overs, then there's nothing to do. But if you lose in the 18th, 19th over, at least you were in the game. So it's completely your call whether you want to chase in 10 overs or 20 overs. But think about it enough, give it enough thought, and that is what the course is about. And I think that analogy, that example, I think is worked because I can see a good smile on Sandeep Bani's face. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, it's a long run. It's a long
Yeah,
process. I'm going to use the cliches again. Long process.
yeah,
Always keep the momentum high and have a good day. You finish it off in style as well.
yeah.
Talking about process, talking about not losing anything. There's IPL. You just don't have to take any risk. बस घर में बैठो, team बनाओ और जीतो. That's what Boomer 11 offers you. Pick, play, and win for free. So you can win prizes worth up to $5,000. And why would you miss out on that? All what you do is go out there, test your fantasy skills, make your team, and just earn a lot of prizes. Nothing to lose. So when you have that kind of attitude, you win more often than you lose. So don't miss out on that. Of course, talking about the content what we provide, go to our Instagram page because we are going to be bringing you some exciting content related to fantasy predictions, sports memes, all the latest sporting updates across the world. And when we talk about YouTube channel, we're going to be coming live every day post our match. So subscribe to our channel, click the bell icon because you do not want to miss out on some exciting discussion post the match. And we'll also be having some banter, pulling each other's leg, talking about teams, analyze it. So we're going to be totally honest. If a player is bad, he is bad. There is no black, gray, or whatever. It's just black or white. Okay. So, having said that, thank you, gentlemen, for joining. It was wonderful talking about two games. It's been a long discussion, of course. And wish you all a happy Easter wherever you're celebrating across the world as well. And take care, stay
Yeah.
safe.
Happy Easter, guys. Take care. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.